Have you ever stood in a place that felt like the world shifted beneath your feet? A place where history wasn't just something you read about, but something you could feel in the very stones around you. That's the feeling one gets in Habsburg Palace. But who were the Habsburgs? Why did they build these incredible palaces? And how did a family rise to such power? The palaces were carefully crafted symbols of power. Think of them as statements of authority, wealth, and the Habsburg vision for the future. Our first stop is Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna. The scale and epic details show the cultural prominence of the Habsburg rulers. The palace is situated in Vienna's 13th district. It was once the summer retreat for the imperial family. But what about its look? What makes it different? Construction began in 1696 under Emperor Leopold I, with Johann Bernhard Fischer von Erlach's original design setting the stage for a Baroque masterpiece. Later, during Empress Maria Theresa's reign, renovations and expansions shaped the complex into what visitors experience today. These efforts are actually credited to Fischer von Erlach and Nicholas Pacassi, who generated a building that blends opulent interiors with meticulous landscaping. But here's the twist. A defining characteristic is its 1,441 rooms, only 40 of which are open to the public. They show the grandeur of both Baroque and Rococo styles, as seen in areas like the Great Gallery, historically used for large receptions. There's also the Millions Room, featuring rare rosewood and Mughal miniatures, and the Vieux Laquais Room, with sumptuous red and gold decor, emphasizing the luxurious taste of the imperial family. Another highlight you can see is the Mirror Room, famous for hosting a 6-year-old Mozart's first public performance. Just imagine hearing that performance. Outside the palace, visitors can explore 176 hectares of gardens designed in the Baroque style. The Great Parterre, a large open area, has neat flower beds and geometric patterns that lead to the Neptune Fountain, a great example of Baroque art. On top of a small hill is the Gloriette, a big pavilion with beautiful views of Vienna. Further into the grounds is the Tiergarten Schönbrunn, which was founded in 1752 and is the oldest zoo still running today. It was a favorite spot for emperors and empresses and still works to protect animals and educate the public. But why was there a zoo here? What was its original purpose? Schönbrunn's historical significance includes its role as the birthplace of Emperor Franz Joseph I in 1830. It was also central in the early life of Marie Antoinette, who grew up here before moving to the French court. Following the collapse of the monarchy in 1918, this palace opened to the public as a museum. Today, its bright-hued exterior, famously called Schönbrunn Yellow or Habsburg Yellow, distinguishes it from many other European palaces. This distinctive paint scheme applied in the 19th century replaced sections of the original Rococo facade and became a color strongly associated with imperial authority. But why yellow? In addition to its museum function, Schönbrunn hosts cultural events and concerts. Visitors are free to walk through selected rooms and meander through the extensive gardens, tracing the same paths once reserved for royalty. This palace remains a major landmark for Vienna, drawing millions of guests each year. Its layered architectural history, lavish decorations, and celebrated gardens highlight the Habsburg influence on Europe's artistic and political landscape. Schönbrunn's enduring allure captures a period when royal patronage and Baroque design flourished, connecting present-day admirers to centuries of imperial tradition. Next, we visit Hofburg Palace in Vienna. For more than 6 centuries, the Hofburg Palace in central Vienna served as the main seat of the Habsburg dynasty. This is where they made the biggest decisions and lived their daily lives. Construction began in the 13th century, and over 700 years of architectural evolution have produced a sprawling complex that covers around 240,000 square meters. Within its walls, styles range from Gothic and Renaissance to Baroque and Rococo, reflecting the many phases of expansion initiated by successive rulers. Today, it continues to be a focal point of Austria's identity, housing the official residence of the President of Austria and the Austrian National Library. One of the most popular attractions at the Habsburg is the Imperial Apartments, which invite visitors to step into the private chambers of Emperor Franz Josef and Empress Elizabeth, better known as Empress Sisi. These rooms present a snapshot of how the imperial family lived, highlighting personal tastes and day-to-day customs. But how did the imperial family really live? How did they carry on daily? Another draw is the Sisi Museum, where more than 300 items bring Empress Elizabeth's story to life. Among the noteworthy exhibits are replicas of her Hungarian coronation gown, mourning jewelry worn after her son's tragic death, and a reconstruction of her railway sleeping car. Together, they convey the public adoration for a figure often portrayed in literature and film. The Imperial Treasury is another essential stop. Here, visitors can see the crown jewels of both the Holy Roman Empire and the Austrian Empire, including the imperial crown, orb, and scepter. These objects underscore the scope of Habsburg authority. The collection also features a legendary narwhal tusk, once mistaken for a unicorn horn, and the agate bull from late antiquity, which was linked to medieval myths about the Holy Grail. How did such strange and wonderful items end up in the imperial treasury? Adjacent to these regal exhibits is the Spanish riding school, renowned for its Lipizzaner horses and classical dressage performances. The Baroque winter riding school, constructed between 1729 and 1735, stages events that date back to courtly traditions of the 16th century. Both locals and visitors gather to witness the precise maneuvers that define high school horsemanship, underscoring the institution's long-standing dedication to equestrian artistry. Though much of Habsburg's function has changed, a timeless charm remains. Seasonal highlights like the traditional Christmas market have taken place here since 1935, and the Austrian National Library's historic hall stands out as one of Europe's finest literary spaces. This library's ornate interior preserves volumes that illuminate scientific, artistic, and philosophical strides made during the Habsburg era. Taken as a whole, the Habsburg complex demonstrates the breadth of imperial influence. Art, ceremony, and governance converged in these corridors, leaving behind a legacy visible in the architectural layers and collections of priceless artifacts. The palace allows modern observers to consider how politics, culture, and daily life blended within the vast network of Habsburg power. Alongside Vienna's landmarks, the Hofburg Inn, Innsbruck, stands as one of Austria's foremost historic cultural sites. With origins tracing back to the 15th century, it shows the grandeur favored by Habsburg rulers, yet its location in the Tyrolean Alps lends it a distinct character. This location alone makes it worth visiting. Initial construction is credited to Archduke Sigismund the Rich, who began raising the core structure in late Gothic style. Emperor Maximilian I later contributed his own vision, though the most epic renovations were conducted under Empress Maria Theresa in the 18th century, introducing Viennese Rococo details that survive to this day. Among the palace's main attractions is the Giant's Hall, recognized as Western Austria's grandest banquet room. Full-length portraits of Maria Theresa, Francis Stephen of Lorraine, and their 16 children line the hall, all created by Martin van Maytens and his workshop. Above, Franz Anton Malberg's ceiling frescoes from around 1770 display themes like the union of the Habsburg and Lorraine dynasties. The room accommodates over 170 guests and took its name from earlier Hercules frescoes that once adorned the walls. These visual statements reveal how rulers cultivated an image of prosperity and continuity through art. But how did these portraits truly convey the idea of power? Another highlight is the Empress Elizabeth apartment. Returned to its 18th century appearance with appropriate furnishings. Visitors can see a salon, a study, a dressing room, and several bedrooms, each painted in different hues that reflect the late 19th century aesthetic. This area offers a closer look at daily imperial routines, from personal grooming practices to the design preferences popular among the Habsburg monarchy's twilight years. The palace further houses a Habsburg portrait gallery along its ceremonial staircase, featuring depictions of emperors from Joseph I through Franz Joseph I. These images capture a dynasty's lineage and evolving identity across 2 centuries. The Guard Hall exhibits large-scale battle scenes related to the Ottoman Wars, specifically highlighting Charles V of Lorraine's role. On a similar historical note, the council chambers displays major orders, such as the Order of St. Stephen, the Order of the Golden Fleece, and the German Order. In a more reflective space, the Hofburg Chapel, erected in 1765 to 1766, occupies the very room where Emperor Francis I died. Its Rococo decorations include a cartouche carrying Maria Theresa's initials, intertwining personal remembrance with religious devotion. Today, the Hofburg in Innsbruck functions as a museum that preserves architectural and cultural heritage. Visitors can walk through rooms still adorned with 18th century furnishings, stand beneath Baroque frescoes, and appreciate the extensive art collections moved here from Vienna. These elements tell a story of a powerful dynasty that shaped Central Europe's political, artistic, and social development. By combining alpine scenery with imperial extravagance, the Hofburg Innsbruck provides an unconventional lens on Habsburg history and the family's lasting impact. Standing on a hill overlooking Innsbruck, Schloss Ambras exemplifies the Renaissance spirit favored by certain Habsburg patrons in the 16th century. It's a unique place, reflecting a different side of the Habsburgs. Archduke Ferdinand II spearheaded its transformation, shaping it into a residence that reflected a deep interest in art, science, and collecting rare objects. The structure's foundations go back to the 10th century, but it was under Ferdinand II that an extensive Renaissance redesign took place between 1563 and 1595. One of the best-known features is the Spanish Hall, a light-filled ceremonial space approximately 43 meters long and 10 meters wide. 33 arches line its sides, and it displays 27 portraits of Tyrolean rulers, each set against a background of allegorical themes and mythological references. The hall also hosts concerts and events, including the Ambras Castle Concerts and programs for the Innsbruck Festival of Early Music. Another remarkable draw is the Habsburg Portrait Gallery, with over 200 portraits from the 15th to the 19th centuries. Esteemed artists such as Lucas Cranach the Younger, Giuseppe Arcimboldo, Peter Paul Rubens, and Diego Velázquez contributed to this collection. Visitors can follow a visual chronology of Habsburg figures, starting with Albert III and concluding with Emperor Francis I. Each portrait underscores how dynastic imagery played a critical role in asserting authority and shaping public perceptions of the family's power. And that's a wrap. For more epic content like this, subscribe to our channel. And hey, since you're already here, don't forget to check out our previous videos uploaded in the channel.